Good evening, and welcome to round 4 of the Christmas Miracle Triathlon Tournament. I'm Sergeant Angle, and I'm joined this evening by McMethanol for what promises to be a very good match between the Sugar Vandals and the seemingly short Dragons in the Dreamers bracket. And it's important to note this is not the first time these two teams have met in the tournament. This is, in fact, a grudge match. McMethanol, what are you feeling for tonight?
Well, that's a great question, Sergeant. I could see this going either way. Both teams very strong showing in the first go about, and I'd like to see a similar type of performance. Although I imagine the loser of the last round would like to see perhaps increased performance on their part.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because Dramsus, one of the players on the seemingly short Dragons team, has been uh, voicing his concern about the upcoming match, likening typical toast to Mussolini in the chat, and has been expressing his interest in finding some way to avoid this match, which doesn't feel like the bold sort of confidence you hope to see going into a round. Do you think that's mind games, or do you think that the seemingly short Dragons are concerned about how this match is going to go?
I think it's less mind games and it's more science. I think the comparison of typical toast to Mussolini is, I'm not going to say spot on, but I see where the parallels have been drawn.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
And, well, especially in the gaming realm. I mean, the way that typical toast performs versus how Mussolini performed in croquet, for example, it's very similar to how I perceive typical toast spell-sworn game. A lot of similarities. So
He does display a certain cruel efficiency on the Spellsworn field that we haven't seen from a lot of players.
that's right. Yep. Yep.
So
Methodical.
if I had to put a gun to your head here and ask who you think is going to win this match, what are you thinking?
Gun to my head. I'm going with the Sugar Vandals. Yeah.
You think it's going to be a repeat of the first one?
I think it very well could be in terms of how the games fall out. I think that the Sugar Vandals' weakest point might be Rocket League, but I don't know that the seemingly short Dragons are that much better, or maybe better at all. So I think, like many of the rounds we've seen this tournament, Rocket League is going to be the weak point for both teams, and whoever really pulls ahead there could be the decider. Uh, I think Rogue Company has been very strong for many teams, and I think that Spellsworn really just comes down to the type of time investment we've seen in terms of
Right,
teams'
right.
hours.
It's interesting you mentioned Rocket League being the weakest for the Sugar Vandals because I think they're one of the stronger Rocket League teams in the tournament. Obviously, the remarkable Wombats have an iron grip on Rocket League play and have just dominated every Rocket League match they've been in. But the Sugar Vandals have had some pretty solid performances as well and have probably put up the strongest defense against the remarkable Wombats in Rocket League.
I guess that's fair. Yeah. Instead of me comparing Rocket League to their performance in the other games, it's probably better for me to compare it to their opponent here.
Right,
So,
right.
uh, and yeah, I think what we saw in the last round, it certainly will be an uphill battle for the seemingly short Dragons. So,
The seemingly short
how that
Dragons
pans
in
out.
their match versus the Cursed Children of the Dark Lord in the Dreamers bracket made it pretty clear they didn't want to play Rocket League. Um,
That's right.
so I think that I mean, they made it pretty clear, right? That unless they've changed something in the last couple of weeks, unless they've really been practicing, they want to play Rogue Company. They want to play Spellsworn um, by virtue of the fact that it's not Rocket League, and then they don't want to play Rocket League. Um, so
Yeah, I think that's an astute analysis. I think if I were the seemingly short Dragons, that is the prioritization I would be going with. Is Rogue Company first, Spellsworn next, then Rocket League. But I think the Sugar Vandals are going to put up quite a fight on all fronts.
I don't think they're going to go quietly into the night on any of them. I suspect we're going to see the Sugar Vandals walking away with the same games they won in the first match. I think Rogue Company is going to be really hard fought, but the seemingly short Dragons have had remarkable Rogue Company play throughout this tournament. It's going to be really hard to best them there. Uh, but we saw them in their last matches playing Spellsworn that they were only picking up 4 spells. Uh,
Right.
and if they haven't practiced Spellsworn more, I think that that 4 spell cap is going to really hurt them if they can't win fast. Because the more time it takes them to win, the more the Sugar Vandals are going to be able to catch up in terms of number of spells. And if they can handle the rotations, they're just going to have an advantage later
Right.
game.
Yeah, and I think the coin flip's going to determine a lot. I think that if Sugar Vandals are starting, we're likely to see Rocket Company come out. Or Rocket Company. There you go. That's a game.
I want to play that game.
We're going to see Rocket League come out first, just due to the divide there. I think there's going to be a lot of confidence on that front. I think that their last pick would be Rogue Company. So we'll see the inverse. If the coin flip goes to the seemingly short dragons, Rogue Company will be their first pick. I think the toss-up game is definitely going to be Spellsworn. So when it comes to that, I think it does depend on the hours, right? We see the seemingly short dragons, quote, sticking to the fundamentals. And that has worked out for them to some degree in the past. But ultimately, the game of Spellsworn does allow for 8 spells, and your cooldowns are going to matter. So if one team is more proficient with more spells, then they're going to come out ahead, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll have a pretty good sense of the relative Spellsworn strength when we hit the lobby and see the player levels. That's a good indicator of how much teams have been practicing, and that seems to be, throughout the tournament, a decent indicator of who has the slight upper hand. Now, that's not to say that a team with less practice can't pull it off, but with Spellsworn, given the complexity, trying to find out how to manage 5, 6, 7 cooldowns and rotate between them in a way that's efficient and not accidentally hitting blink when you want to cast a fireball. Having that experience makes a huge difference. So we'll have to see. I think in any case, Spellsworn's probably going to be played later. I think we're going to see Rocket League or Rogue Company picked first, and then whichever one isn't picked first, I think the other one's going to be picked immediately after, and then
right.
We'll have Spellsworn decide this one. That's
Yeah, and I do think there is room for the Sugar Vandals to actually pick up Rogue Company as a flip there. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
And if that happens, I think that might just seal the fate of the seemingly short dragons.
The seemingly short dragons have to win Rogue Company. They have a good shot at it, but the Sugar Vandals made them pay for it in the first match, and we'll see what happens here again. It looks like all the players are in the pregame lobby. We've submitted our expert opinions. Let's pop in there and see how the players are feeling.
Absolutely.
Okay, he's drunk. Perfect.
Good evening, gentlemen.
We have a lively crowd here tonight. It's great to hear everyone's voices and laughter.
Elwin just admitted to doping.
That is not true.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Actually, doping is...
these are actually the most generous rules ever in any game. They allow cheating, doping.
It is, yeah. Doping is
is
encouraged, actually, as far as I understand.
It's if it gives you a better show, it's kind of like everybody always knows that they should have a doping Olympics, where it's just how far can a human go?
They do. It's called Mr. Olympia. You should check it out. Arnold Schwarzenegger led the way.
Well, we're gonna look forward then to seeing Elwin stretch the realms of what's humanly possible here tonight.
No, that's okay.
The expectations have been set. Let's see if they can be met.
With that in mind, Elwin, if you've got the narcotic advantage here, let's go ahead and give you another
Tails.
advantage. You're calling tails? All right.
Tails.
Let's see what we got. We have tails.
Rogue Company.
Rogue Company.
Man, those drugs are already paying off, man.
All right, let's get this thing started already.
Out of my way.
There was not an ounce of hesitation there.
No.
Off to a strong start by the Dragons.
Those drugs are working very well already. I'm very happy with that.
Elwin's just gonna flatten us in about 8 seconds.
Yeah. theme rolling.
We'll know that the drugs are really at play if Elwin does a full melee build.
That only happens in the third round potentially.
Third.
Third round melee build. Yeah.
All right, he didn't say what the round will be at that point, like how many wins
Nope,
each team will
third
have.
round.
So
Just
Yeah, so
Whatever
if we
round-
win the
third
first
round-
two,
No, it's
he's
melee
still
all the
gonna
way.
do 'em.
Yeah.
Well, as we suspected, the seemingly short dragons very interested in playing Rogue Company above everything else.
Hard to predict that one, but we did it.
A lot of confidence coming out of them there. We're gonna see if it pays off. I take Elwin, by the way, at his word on that melee build in the third round. I think we're gonna see that come out.
Well, it's my practice to never take anyone at their word, but I would be impressed if it does.
Well, we can look forward to that.
I think that's a big risk if they're doing well, and that's the direction he goes. He is. The question is, does running Ronin count as still a melee build? Can you use the Q? You know, it's sort of like a melee. So
Looks like we have a mirror matchup here.
the actions per minute from Ronin are already just off the charts. This is big stalats Ronin and typical toast on the shield man. Anvil.
Yep, we got an Anvil Ronin mirror matchup. We've already got someone
Immediately,
going down.
we see Dramsus going down to big stalats.
Control point
Elwin picks up the
contested.
kill on Typical Toast, or at least the down on Typical Toast. Typical Toast trying to keep contesting breaches. Big Stalats gets Elwin hiding behind the fountain. That's a good coverage for Typical Toast. They capture the point.
We've
Dramsus-
seen the dangers of the fountain before, and we're seeing it again.
This is a bloodbath on the fountain here. Both teams do a pretty good job contesting it. A very aggressive job contesting it. This is a tight match so far. C4 going out. Elwin manages the dodge.
Now, what we're seeing here is Elwin, again, camping the fountain. We've seen this in the past, where it only takes about a second and a half,
Control point contested.
somewhere in that realm, in order to cap the control point. And we've seen that it's really dangerous to stand there on the fountain after you've capped it. So we'll see if that trend continues.
I do want to give a shout out to, I believe it was Typical Toast who threw C4 onto the fountain and got some kills there. Possibly even a double kill. It's hard to see from the angle I was on.
Control point contested.
I didn't see that, but it does seem as if they're being punished again. So it sounds like there was some style points to be made there, but they're a point behind. Or wait, no, they're not. They're a point ahead.
Ooh, that was pretty fantastic. Biz Flash hitting Elwin with the dagger
Keep up the pressure.
for a kill. That was a bold play. Nice kill, and then he picks up the kill on Dramsus. Yeah, it looks like the seemingly short dragons are actually struggling here. They're down one life. Dramsus goes to pick up
that's
Elwin while
huge.
taking
It's
fire and goes
huge.
down. Yeah, the seemingly short dragons are really going to have to pull a comeback here. The Sugar Vandals are saying, this is our game. Big Slats picking up a kill on Dramsus. It's Elwin charging the point. They have to get on it, or they're going to lose another ticket, and that's another ticket lost. One life left.
Misses the shot on Toast.
The enemies
Finishes them off.
Enemies have the objective. Get
It's
it back.
4-1.
It's 4-1, and importantly, the point is still held by the Sugar Vandals. The seemingly short dragons are really going to have to do something here to hold the point.
Control
Dramsus thinks he has a
point
target,
contested.
but he doesn't. Elwin
Enemies are running low at
sprinting around
reinforcements.
cover,
Crush him.
getting killed by the enemy.
And the last points
5
here.
seconds remaining. Enemies have the objective. Get it back.
Elwin just one life, and that
We've
first
been
round is
wiped
going
out.
to go to the Sugar Vandals. Big Slats with a really good performance there, 11 eliminations.
A surprise to be sure. This is really quite a turnaround from what we've seen previously.
That was a very decisive performance on the part of the Sugar Vandals. The seemingly short dragons have got to be feeling a little bit of the pressure here. They picked this game. They've feel like this is their strongest title. Let's see how they come out of the gate here and try and shake things up. We saw a lot of really aggressive effort to control the point last time that resulted in a bloodbath. Let's see if either team is a little more cautious.
Overtime. Capture the point.
Rams is taking a lot of heat from typical cover, and that was fantastic anvil play for both sides, downing each other simultaneously. Big Stalats is going to try and get the pickup.
This pickup will be interesting. We've seen a lot of punishing pickups, and that was a tough one.
Yeah. Elwin.
Due to this particular game mode, pickups are one of the most risky moves that teams make.
Control point contested.
The anvil, if they're behind the shield, does allow for a little more latitude, but the time in Road Company to actually get a pickup just makes it so hard.
Elwin's doing a lot of very aggressive charging here, which has been going for him, I would say, so far, but you see him now taking up a more defensive posture. And he's going to get flanked from behind and taken out. Oh, by Big Stalats, actually.
I do think that that's the weakness that Elwin is displaying here, is that the aggression, the charging, not being behind cover is coming at a price.
Yeah, they know that they need to control the objective, and there they just lost a point from it. But the Sugar Vandals are just doing a really good job locking the point down, trapping the objective, pressuring the seemingly short dragons at every point.
Now, Big Stalat's ability to actually tell where the enemy is quite impressive, where both teams don't actually have a balance. I'm quite impressed by the ability to actually feel out where they are. And I don't know if that's a sound thing or just intuition based on where spawning would happen. But it's working out.
Big Stalats going down to
Control
Elwin.
point contested.
Considering the pickup, but it's dangerous. Typical Toast goes down to Dramsis.
That's a double kill for the seemingly short dragons, which they really needed. Elwin picking up a different gun here. I know he likes Ronin in part for the weapon, so he may be trying to go for longer engages here. We'll see. Looks like the Sugar Vandals
Big Stalats taking his time on the point.
They'll love this.
Really excellent use of the anvil cover coming out here for the Sugar Vandals. Really allowing them to
Control point contested. Enemies have the objective. Get it back.
3 kills in quick succession.
They're out of lives.
And we're on the last
Control
lives
point
now
contested.
for the seemingly short dragons. They got to pick up 5 kills. Cool it off.
Objective
And it
lost.
looks like it's going
Let's
to be
get it
down
back.
to Elwin to finish this up unless he can get to Dramsis. Both teams going for the pickup.
Control point contested. Enemies have control of the objective.
Now the
Capture it.
seemingly short dragons are going to have to get on the point in the next 24 seconds or they're going to lose by default. Drams is getting flanked. He doesn't see him and he comes into the melee.
Fight
And
harder
that's
next
typical
time.
Toast, giving Dramsis the beatdown. But that is a
We are seeing
2-0.
quite the performance
Match point. Let's
in
get
this
it.
game that really
Switching sides.
turns on its head what we need to see from the Dragons in order to pull a victory in this match.
So what do the Dragons have to do differently here to pull this one out? We have 2 losses, both of them, you know, by no means wipeouts, right? The seemingly short Dragons have definitely been putting up a good fight, but they've also been behind 3 or 4 tickets in each game. You know, what do the Dragons
Lost the objective.
pull off? Oh, and Elwin's going with the melee build. They both are.
the third round melee build, as promised.
And typical Toast saying, if you want to fight with melee weapons, I will fight you with melee weapons. And he kills Elwin with the
Enemies have
baton.
the
An
objective.
excellent
Get it
throw.
back.
So I think this is a question where we have to ask, where do the drugs come into this, right? The melee build, when you're down 2, giving up that kind of advantage is bold. Now, we don't know whether they're going to stick to that throughout, but it seems like that's the start they want.
Well, it's working out for the Sugar Vandals at least. They're up 4 tickets so far, no lives lost yet, due to some good pickups on the part of the team.
Enemies have 5
And
lives left.
that was just
Keep
a
up the
brutal
pressure.
smackdown 2v1 on Elwin. It looks like the teams are really embracing melee this round.
It does look like both teams have kind of come around to some degree. There is some gunfire, and not everyone's on the same page, but
Control of the objective. Capture it.
yeah, this is unexpected, despite being promised.
Now see here, we had a moment where the seemingly short dragons could have taken, but Elwin instead continued the hunt to find players, and I think that's the kind of error that's going to really, they got to be able to capture the point in these cases. They're leading tickets.
Control point contested.
I see this as an example of an attempt to have fun. That's something I've never tried to do in games, but I do admire them.
It does seem like a bold strategy. We'll see if it pays off here, Cut.
We've lost the objective. Control point contested.
Hard to argue with that
Enemies
reference.
have the objective. Control point contested.
Elwin beating down Typical Toast. Big Stalats picks up the baseball bat, goes to bat for his teammates, but then gets smacked down.
The dragons are out of lives. This will be the final countdown.
Oh, that was another
bat to the
excellent
face.
bat.
Typical Toast is flexing hard on the ranged melee skills, if that's a term.
That was 2 bad executions from Typical Toast so far tonight, and overall we're seeing some very remarkable play coming out of the Sugar Vandals. A nice pickup from Ramses there on Typical Toast with the C4. And the seemingly short dragons say, "We will not go quietly into the night." They have come from far behind and are now down only 1 ticket. But that's going to be it for them. They really evened that one up. They were down 6-0 at one point, picked up a 5.
It was a close comeback there. Almost closed the gap.
Really good performance from both teams. A good effort, but Row Company is going to go 3-0 to the Sugar Vandals. Let's pop back into chat with the players.
I didn't even know that was a thing you could do.
Gotta hold your right mouse button and then.
Oh, and it throws the weapon.
Guys been playing a little bit of this? You've been playing a little bit of Row Company?
No, actually.
No, actually.
Oh, okay.
Have you
We've
guys
been-
not been playing Rogue Company?
Dude,
Of course not.
I've been in Hawaii for a week. This is my first time being on my computer.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
so
what
jealous.
I was doing.
You're supposed to only get the free trip to Hawaii after you win the tournament.
I think you're not supposed to admit that you went to a secret training camp in
Oh.
Hawaii to get good at.
That's where I got the
secret
drugs.
doping training
Yeah.
at Hawaiian camp.
That's where I got the drugs too. Yeah. I said, hey, listen, I said it was reverse doping. I wasn't lying, man.
It's true.
Well, I appreciated seeing the team sticking to the honorable route in that third match. That was good to see.
Yeah, I didn't buy a melee. I should have. I didn't think you'd actually follow through.
Yeah, I saw you Stalats running around scavenging for gear, but it worked out. It worked out. You got a few beat downs.
Baseball
So.
bat flying around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those baseball bats being in faces.
Yeah. So it's to the seemingly short dragons to select game number 2.
Bellsworn.
The surprise pick, Spellsworn from the Dragons.
Right.
Let's see if this game lets us play. Hopefully you don't DDoS the server.
It's hard to say. There's 16 players online right now. Might
What?
not it itself. Yeah.
That might be more than the servers can handle. We'll see.
All right. Typical Dose game. Password is no tears.
While we all load into this one, Typical Toast, you got I think it was 2 bat kills, bat throw kills in that last match. How does that feel?
It
in
feels
my
really
face.
good. I gotta say, the laser accuracy with the bats is really what I was going for coming into the round.
Oh, whoops, hang on, I gotta rejoin.
The thing I love best about that whole melee thing is just how absurd it is, how fast the animation is when a character swings toward a bat. It's just so chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about earlier how the starting levels are an interesting predictor. Looking at typical Toast being at a level 14, I think the only player in the double digits. Let's see some compelling performance.
We're seeing love for shock and homing here. Stalats has homing and shock. Typical Toast has, Typical Toast, pardon me, yeah, has also, I believe, if I can select him, homing and shock. Actually, both Typical Toast and Stalats going with homing, shock, energy shield, and blink. Not an unpopular set. Oh, pardon me, Stalats swapped it out for counterpulse. Looks like.
We see 2 energy shields instead of counterpulses. So it looks like the energy shield has been gaining popularity.
Now, Drams has fired a crescent to Typical Toast. Typical Toast put up a shield. It bounced the crescent back into Typical Toast. Drams is picking up charge, which I believe might be the first time we've seen that in use in the tournament so far. Taking some early damage, Drams is here from some aggressive play, but so far the damage numbers are pretty even. Stalats taking a couple pings. It looks like the Sugar Vandals might be trying to focus Dramsus down. Dramsus with a charge into an immolate. He's tried that 3 times and hasn't hit the immolate yet.
It does seem like it is a complicated mechanic, but I agree that it seems like a focus toward Dramsus is very much on the agenda. A good counter pulse by Elwin back at Stalats.
Stalats and Typical Toast both with fairly even damage. Typical Toast getting knocked out
Stalats
very
and
briefly.
Typical Toast both taking homing missiles. A lot of homing missiles headed toward the Sugar Vandals.
Ooh, a really good crescent.
Excellent
on Stalat.
crescent by Dramsus.
Followed up by a really good shock, it looks like. Stalats is struggling on health, but so is Typical Toast, and that crescent came really close to a good hit there. Elwin blinking, trying to, I think, bait some blinks out of the enemy. But he gets knocked out with the
Elwin
immolate.
knocked outside. No blink available.
Oh, Dramsus with the combo. He charges into Typical Toast, knocks him out, and then uses the immolate to knock him out again. That was a really good combo and eliminates Typical Toast. It is
It's a
looking good for the
1v2.
Dragons. And Stalats accidentally blinks out into the ether. I only imagine it was an accident. And that's going to be
And
it.
that's going to close it out.
There was some really solid play to close that out from the seemingly short Dragons there.
Several excellent combos.
That charge immolate seemed pretty weak early, but once he was able to use it to knock people out of the combat zone and then immolate to prevent them from re-entering, we saw a lot of the real strength of it. That was the 1-2 punch that took Typical Toast out of the fight, and it looks like Dramsus is doubling down on that build. Elwin going with Wind Walk, also useful for knocking people out unexpectedly.
Stalats with Windwalk, I think.
Oh,
Is that what
you
I
know,
see there?
I don't know. It's sometimes when I select players, I think it shows me the wrong players' spells. So
Now, I'm really curious to see if you can pull this off. It does require pretty high mechanical ability to correctly get the Windwalk decoy to deceive your opponent. But we'll see how it works out for him.
yeah, Stalats going for Elwin here, gets the hit on Elwin for a little bit of damage. But the early
Now, that is something interesting, is the early knockbacks are not nearly as valuable, and so if you don't have the damage to go along with it, it's a question of whether the opportunity cost of not taking a shield or counterpulse is going to pay off.
Drams is going very aggressively for Typical Toast here, putting a good chunk of damage on him. Elwin blinks back to try and provide some support. Drams is showing
Excellent crescent around the shield.
really good crescent play coming out of Dramsus here. I think Dramsus has got to...
Drams is taking 2 large sources of damage, has lowered him to the lowest on the field. Good counterpulse by Elwin. There's that charge and an immolate out into the poison.
That's a good amount of damage on Stalats. Looks like Elwin's sitting highest health here. Looks like Dramsus is the main focus of the Sugar Vandals.
There's that charge immolate missing again.
He gets
It
the
looked
crescent
close.
hit. Elwin getting knocked back repeatedly out of the zone. He
Now
manages
that's
to
going to
find his
hurt a
way back
lot.
in.
That combo put on him has taken him to the lowest on the field.
Stalats,
Again, out in the poison, he's going to go down.
Dramses blinks into an immolate, and that's probably going to be it for the second round. The Sugar Vandals coming back strong with a good performance here, saying,
Especially in
Look
the
out.
second half of that round. A lot of good combos, bursting their opponents down ever so quickly.
we're seeing pretty even damage coming out of the Sugar Vandals. A slight damage edge from Dramses over Elwyn here. Actually, pardon me, Stalats has a slight damage edge over Typical Toast here. Probably has to do with the overall selection of spells, offensive versus defensive. Dramses
We're seeing the
takes
claw come out.
early damage. Yeah, Typical Toast using the claw. I wonder if this is something he's been practicing, because he pulled himself not very far into that tree there. That might have been a mistake, or it might have been a test use.
Well, in terms of the leveling here, we see level 2 across all of Typical Toast's abilities, and that's unusual.
Elwyn guides the homing missile he's trying to hide from into a missile that Typical Toast fired at him to cancel them both out. A nice little play there.
There goes the charge Immolate whiffing.
Yeah, when it works, it's remarkable, but it's been very hit and miss so far. Dramses definitely has been getting really good performance with that crescent.
2 homing missiles connecting.
Oh,
Very interesting. Okay, so the hook bringing Dramses out to the poison with him, and then the charge back. This is an intense fight as the map continues to shrink. Immolate's missing right and left.
Elwyn's having
Elwyn
trouble
is caught
getting
in the
back.
poison.
Looked like his blink was down there. He manages to blink out of danger from the
hook
slats.
for a double Immolate missing. It is difficult to land that.
That was a
Typical Toast
really
blinking
good
back
crescent.
in.
And Dramses is now in a position to get that charge that he's been working on off. Stalats
No, I
blinking
think
out
we just
into the
saw
miasma.
Stalats blinking into. Yeah, that was.
That's the second time he's done that so far. Elwyn going down, but Dramses has the substantial health advantage here. We'll see if he can pull off a kill. He does on Typical Toast. One hit on Stalats will probably finish it, and he knows it.
5 health left to 35, and that'll do it.
Second match going to the seemingly short dragons. This is very close. Oh, we're seeing very close spell sword in play here. I feel like both these teams are quite evenly matched.
It does seem that way.
We see that looks like Dramses is maxing out his 4 spells, and he's now picking up a 5th Acid Pool. Stalats has 5. Elwyn's maxed out 4. Does not appear to be adding any. Typical Toast going up to 6. The charge and the crescent have been paying off really well for Dramses. The shields have been paying off quite well, I think, in some cases for Typical Toast and Stalats, but we see Typical Toast selling the shield possibly because that crescent has been finding its way around it.
That does seem like a reasonable reason to have the counter pulls instead.
We got a lot of whiffed immolates there to start things off. Dramses is taking some early damage from meteors and shocks. Relying on the tree for a little block there.
Dramses getting back with his teammate. We see relatively little damage outside of that early burst on Dramses. Another fireball connecting with Dramses.
Yeah, those meteors from Typical Toast have been doing a good amount of damage on Dramses, and that shock also. Dramses has taken a lot of damage early. Definitely seems to be the main target of the...
Stalats still sitting at 100 health.
Dramses is playing very aggressively, given that he seems to be the main focus of the enemy team. Although Elwyn now is down to 76, gets some good hits on Typical Toast.
Dramses is off, and he is going to go down.
A difficult trade there. Typical Toast down to 19 health. Elwyn at 60. Elwyn's going to have a hard time here. If he can get Typical Toast down, he can fight 1v1. But Typical Toast still has enough health to play Rabbit.
And the homing has switched to Typical Toast, but no follow-up spell.
Two homing missiles canceling each other out. Elwin doing a good job dodging.
The blink immolate, but not off into the poison.
It was a really good effort. He almost gets Typical Toast down. Elwin's doing a good job keeping his cool, landing decent hits. But that shock is
The
gonna
shock
it's gonna
and
really hurt.
a return with a blink.
And that's gonna be it. Looks like that's 2-2, right? Yep, 2-2.
We are tied up. This
Teams
is
are
the
trading.
deciding match, game point potentially for.
This is the only the
the
second time in
shebang.
the tournament that Spellsworn has gone to Game 5, and we're seeing some very good play, some very close play here. The seemingly short dragons fighting now for a chance to play Rocket League, fighting to stay in the
Their
tournament.
favorite game.
Absolutely. If they succeed here, they have a shot to stay in the tournament. If the Sugar Vandals win, then they eliminate the seemingly short dragons and move on to face, in their final match, a team that will probably beat them. But we'll get into that later.
Elwin sticking with the 4 spells, all maxed out. I think should be the capacity to have maxed out 5 spells right now. So that's interesting that he doesn't even want the option. But sticking to the fundamentals is their mantra.
It's a really good crescent coming out from Dramsus on Typical Toast. Typical Toast down to 63 health already, though Dramsus also matching that number. Elwin missing his immolate there. Dramsus has to pick up on the fact that he's the clear target, knocks Stalat out, and Stalat goes with the immolate, taking a lot of damage in the miasma. Dramsus taking some damage as well.
And there's the attempt at the charge immolate again. The charge connects, immolate does not.
He does get
We
some
see-
damage from the knockout from the charge.
Oh, that crescent. Now that is going to hurt.
Typical Toast is taking a good chunk of damage here, and that is
Typical
Typical
Toast
Toast
goes
going
down.
down. A good hit from Dramsus on Stalats, and this is looking really good for the short dragons here. Well, they seem short, but they're not really. Stalats fleeing for his life, trying to find something, and he blinks out into the
offensive
miasma
miasma.
saying, "No man takes my life. I give it freely. I gotta respect that play." That is
That was
very
huge.
close, very good play, but the seemingly short dragons pull it out with a pretty strong showing there in that final match. Let's see how the players are feeling.
Wow.
I've been
Some very nice Spellsworn play there.
You look like you've been practicing.
Dramsus, that was some very impressive crescent and charge play. You made things happen there.
I decided to be incredibly aggressive in the hopes that it rattled them.
It did. It worked out. I was telling Peter, I am literally trembling. I'm not even joking. I'm genuinely trembling right now.
All right, to Rocket League it is. though.
God damn it.
You went to Rocket League camp in Hawaii, didn't you?
I hope he did.
Reverse Rocket League camp.
He's just gonna be driving in reverse the whole time and kicking our asses.
Well, we heard comments from Elwin there that really make us feel confident about what we're going to see. Is this game WASD? We'll see what happens here. Big Slats getting the kickoff pretty strongly. No one's able to follow up on it really. We see some wailing the ball to the coast, knocked it back toward the goal. Elwin on defense. It's a really good set.
Across the
No one's in
goal,
position to knock
and
it
it's
away.
in.
That's a good setup on the part of Typical Toast right here. Really good center, gets the boost into it. We see no one's in position between that and the net. All the Orange Team players looking, if they hit the ball, they'll have to score an own goal. So really good setup. Dramsus rejecting the initial kickoff hit. Looking to center. Elwin with a shot that's just a little wide on goal. Typical Toast with the clear.
Back to orange side.
And if Big Slats is in position, this is going to be a goal. That is second goal for Big Slats, following up on another decent center. Dramses and Owen struggling, knocking into each other. A rough opening for the seemingly short Dragons. We'll see if they can rally here. Both Dragons going for the kickoff. That's a very bold move. If you lose the kickoff, it can leave you in a really weak position defensively. Here we see Elwin, or pardon me, Tipple Toast trying to dribble it in, loses a little bit of control.
Dramses pulling the ball back away from the goal. Big Slats not able to stop, and Dramses driving it in. That's 2-1.
It's an excellent goal for the seemingly short Dragons. It has to feel really good after those 2 fast goals from the Sugar Vandals to get a pickup here and say, you cannot assume what happens in this game.
And I think we have to credit them for sticking to the fundamentals there, but also note that the Sugar Vandals both whiffed on defense there, their chances to stop that goal. So we could see some openings that certainly allow the Dragons to perform.
Seeing a lot of bumper cars here, which is a good defensive strategy. If you can't hit the ball, hit the car going for the ball.
A center.
Elwin moving into position to try to stop it. And that's a good clear from Elwin.
And back toward blue side.
Big Slats
clear. Good return. Heading toward the goal. A center. Will there be anyone in? Oh, and it's off of Elwin into the goal.
Looks like the, we'll see here, seemingly short Dragons might have gotten tripped up a little bit on defense, trying to get in position.
That's a tough move,
yeah.
Trying to be in the goal there and trying to bring that away, so hard to know exactly what to do about that.
Those shots are really hard to defend, where the shot kind of drops down the top of your goal, landing right
That's
in
right.
it. It's really, really hard to block that.
An excellent
good
shot. Big Slats going to an undefended goal, bringing it to 4-1.
And Big Slats opening up here, we'll see right here, he's got a really good contest where he just barely beats Elwin to knock the ball, and he knows where to put it in position. That's the fundamentals right there. Really solid play. We still see both of the short Dragons, or seemingly short Dragons, going for the kickoffs. I wonder if we're going to see them paying for that at any point here. So far, it hasn't really hurt them, so. There's a center from Tipple Toast, but Slats is not in position to stop it. Another center.
A save by Dramses. And it's coming back.
It's saved by
Off
Elwin.
Elwin. Centered by Dramses. Can he knock it in? Good save by Tipple Toast. And back again by Elwin. Big Slats effectively centering it, but it looks like it is off the wall.
Really good shot attempt there from Big Slats, just a little to the left of the goal.
Now that's
Nice
a great
shot.
shot, but an excellent save.
Elwin's had some really good shots on goal here. It's just Slats has always been there to. What is it? Ryan Sterling, Jim Sterling it.
Yeah, you got me there.
Got.
Look up some soccer references.
No, that's a reference to a fake goalie in a random skit. Oh, not a real goalie. I know that.
And oh, and it's just a little wide.
Some solid shots on goal coming from the Sugar Vandals. Some really close hits. We've been seeing that the seemingly short Dragons have really picked up their defense here. They've been doing a much better job clearing. They've been putting more pressure on the Sugar Vandals.
I think some of that Hawaii fever might be wearing off a little bit. Or the drugs are kicking in. Hard to say.
Well, whatever it is, I think that the initial strength that we were seeing from the Dragons, that initial fast 2 goals that we're seeing, if the Dragons can keep what they're doing in this game going, like what they're doing right now, going in the next match, then they've got a shot at winning this one out.
Well, I think what we do have to note in terms of just general strategy and formation is that the Sugar Vandals tend to have a good division of labor. And you're going to see them having one in the goal when it's defense time, or one looking to score when the ball is centered by the other. We often see the Dragons bunched up going for the same objective. And I think that ultimately does more harm than good.
I think you're absolutely right there. Like, I think a big part of the goal we just saw from typical Toast 2 is just that. In fact, we just saw a Dragon just knocking Element away from the ball. They were both kind of chasing after it. That's really hard to avoid doing if you're both going for the objective together. And that's going to be the first match going to the Sugar Vandals. We'll pop back now to the lobby. So just leave match. And yeah, just go back to the main menu here, and then we'll relaunch here in a moment. The Sugar Vandals with a really solid performance, but the seemingly short Dragons did not go quietly. I think if they take what you just said to heart there, McMethanol, if they focus on positioning, they've got a good chance to fight their way out of this one. We'll see how it goes.
And that's really a question of macro strategy, less than actual mechanics. So
yeah, that is something
could be
you can
ironed
change
out rather quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't require you to be able to, master your aerials or boosts or something. If you can identify that's your weakness, they could change it up here. Oh, the expected option here. That's a really, really good shot. Big Stalats to open things up. See him going up off the wall here.
From the center of the map, impressive.
That, Big Stalats with the expert tag, and that play certainly looked expert. And there we see both the Dragons go for the kickoff. Big Stalats wins the kickoff, and now there's no one to defend the goal. He can just kind of gradually walk it in. This is exactly what the Dragons can't afford to let happen if they want to stay in this tournament.
4 minutes and 45 seconds left, and already a 2-goal lead.
At 2 goals in 15 seconds for the Sugar Vandals. Dragons still teaming up, going both of them for the kickoff. Elwin staying back for defense here at least. Good attempt, but no one's on goal here for the center from typical Toast. We'll see a Big Stalats is in position.
Elwin with a nice bypass. The Big Stalats is there to return it and score another goal.
Big Stalats passing it to himself over 2 defenders and then knocking it into the goal. A very impressive play there.
Definitely seeing some of that skill and experience shine, as Big Stalats is certainly the primary scorer for his team.
I think you can't discount what we're seeing from typical Toast here either, though, because a lot of those Big Stalats scores are from centers that typical Toast has set up.
It's true, and I think that they see an excellent score. No one there to block it.
That's a goal from across the map there. Big Stalats misses the block, typical Toast misses the block, and it just kind of walks its way on in.
You gotta watch out for that kind of thing. But yeah, no, to your point, I think they realize where their strengths are at. Typical Toast, it is easier to center a ball than it is to nudge it in quite at the right angle in Rocket League. And so they seem to play into that quite well.
And that is a second goal for the Dragons in 13 seconds. This is exactly the kind of thing they need to get back in this match. There's now only a lead by 1. The Dragons could pull this off.
They could. Some great long shots that Really, I think the Vandals do not see coming at all.
Vandals have been missing a few aerials. I wonder if those nerves that we were hearing about after spells.
Another shot close to the goal.
A really good setup there, and almost a goal. If the Dragons can prolong this long enough to get Big Stilat's nerves tied up enough, then maybe they'll be able to pull it out that way. That's another goal from Big Stilat's, though. We see there Elwyn and Dramsus. Elwyn doesn't really know what to do there. Dramsus has to jump over him. Elwyn's not in a position to stop the advance. They got to find a way to kind of split their positioning a little bit. Typical Toast looking for the center. That shot's a little off, but a good setup for Stilats.
And it's knocked back in the corner. You only get so many opportunities, but here's another one.
Maybe you don't only get so many opportunities.
There might just be as many opportunities as you can forage.
I like to think of scoring goals the same way I think about the US economy. There are as many opportunities as you're willing to create for yourself.
Well, that is a controversial perspective in the 21st century, and I appreciate you going out on that limb.
You know, what is Shoutcasting Rocket League if not an opportunity for political commentary? That is a last-minute save from Big Stilats there. Dramsus misses the block.
And Big Stilats is already back on the orange side, knocking it to the side, and back to the orange goal, and it's in.
Really solid boost there over the defender. You see Elwyn in this clip, he's going to be waiting for the ball to get back to him, which is admittedly exactly what I do. But Big Stilats is able to get the boost over it. The lead is now 6-2, a lead of 4 goals in favor of the Sugar Vandals as we reach the halfway point. And the Dragons shook it up. They did not both go for the kickoff there, and that saved them a goal. So it looks like they are adapting their play here a little bit. Dramsus trying to chase the ball. Toast staying patient. He's able to get a really nice slow center, but Dramsus clears it.
Big Stilat saying, no, stay on your side. Elwyn driving it back to blue. And again, they can't get it out of there.
And as long as they can't get it out, this will happen inevitably.
Typical Toast eases it in, 7-2.
It's a good finishing goal from Typical Toast, but that's the end of just a brutal offensive play where the Dragons just cannot get it out of the orange half of the map.
It's interesting to see in this tournament so far how important a team's skill in Rocket League is shaping up to be.
Rocket League is proving to often be the decisive game. We'll see how that plays out. If the Sugar Vandals pull this match off, then there will be 3 teams left in the tournament. The Remarkable Wombats, the Sugar Vandals, and of course the soon-to-be tournament champions, the Sassy Cadets.
Why not?
Yeah. I say that with no bias whatsoever. Just with the insider knowledge I have as a Sassy Cadet, I happen to have an intimate knowledge of particular strengths of that team.
And certainly a level of confidence that no one can question. Ball easing its way back toward blue, but Big Stilats again denying any type of return. We see one of the first booms. I believe that was off camera for me, but I believe that was one of the Vandals getting boomed very shortly onto the blue side, and now we're back orange yet again.
Elwyn taking up Big Stilats. We're going to have to see some laser fast goals here. But the truth of the matter is, this is probably the last 10 seconds that we have the Dragons in this tournament. They put up a really good fight. They've scored goals in both Rocket League games, which is a solid performance.
It is.
Takes out Dramsus at the end, and that's going to be the Sugar Vandals' victory in this match, 2-1 in terms of games, 2-0 in Rocket League. But they take Rocket League and Rogue Company to carry on. Let's see how the players are feeling.
All right.
Last
We were talking about that.
Talking about what, sorry?
I think he just cut out, but
He just cut
we
out, yeah.
scored on you.
Yes, you scored
Oh
on
no,
us.
I was just saying that was the first time we had played Rocket League since the last time we played you guys.
Yeah.
Well, you put up a good fight. You got a couple goals, got some points
We
on the
did.
board.
Yep.
You did not go quietly into the night.
It was a great effort.
All right,
Yeah.
everybody.
Good.
GG's.
Good games.
Yeah, good
Yep.
game, guys.
Good games, gentlemen. The winner of this match, the Sugar Vandals, are going to be going on to what will be a feudal match for them versus the Sassy Cadets. We'll be scheduling that match in the coming days. I guess that you could say that they'll have the honor to sort of be on the path that the Sassy Cadets take to ultimate victory in the tournament.
But aren't only the remarkable Wombats undefeated?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's
Isn't there
comments
this guy
like
called
that.
Steve running around that apparently is like a guy who like sniping this tournament for us. Or something?
I don't. I just want to say that there's a certain tactic and strategy that the Sassy Cadets are using here, and
Haven't the remarkable Wombats beaten both of you guys, regardless of who wins the next? tournament? I'm just pointing these things out to you because they're facts.
I think I need to shut off the stream here because this is the fact that this is online makes this cyberbullying, and that
It's okay.
just
I'll put both of you back in the losers bracket, like eventually anyway. So don't worry about that too.
well,
All right, everybody.
good games tonight, gentlemen.
Yeah, good games, guys.
Good game.
Good games.
Take care, guys.
Night.